So we got some really good news and also some bad news at the same time. The world revamp is definitely happening, but not as a huge makeover of Azeroth as they just confirmed in a post-blizzcon interview, but we will be getting gradual changes over time. So expect changes to Quel'Thalas with a new Silvermoon actually confirmed in the interview, Stromgarde, Gilneas, the plaguelands finally getting fixed. Southern part of Kalimdor is due for a big update as well. Northerend will almost certainly receive some sort of an update, as well as potentially Orgrimmar and Stormwind, together with Gnomeregan later down the line. So what are all these news? Let's cover everything we currently know and what zones will be getting revamped across Azeroth. If you want to get Dragonflight or anything else Warcraft related, Gnomeregan has some excellent deals that you can check out with my link below. Best of all, you can get software, gift cards, a bunch of games at below market prices. On top of that, you can also use my code Doron to get yet another discount, so make sure to check out my link below and grab some amazing deals at Gnomeregan. So honestly, I feel like I've made the most amount of world revamp videos out of everyone, and usually it was with some breadcrumbs, mostly speculation, but now we know that it will be happening and sort of how it will be going through. Now, you might remember, a few months back we got the official Blizzard interview where they all but confirmed the world revamp is happening in 2024. They said they're very seriously considering it, something will be happening, but now on BlizzCon and post-BlizzCon, we actually got interviews on how it might actually be happening. Now, the worst to bubble immediately, a huge world revamp won't be happening, so don't expect a BlizzCon announcement where they announce like 40 zones will get completely updated. And honestly, I mean, when you think about it, it is kind of unrealistic because, you know, how they actually do it, no one really expected something like that would happen, especially with the recent hints we had gotten these past few months, as it was pretty evident that it is going to be happening gradually. These past 2-3 years, we have data mined so many things, all these new models, new player skeletons, new updates, new customizations. Pretty much every single patch, every single mini patch, they're updating something, they're creating some sort of new models, so they're constantly updating the graphics and bringing it back to the present day to actually look modern. Now, this trend will 100% continue with some zones getting a full-scale update, and we actually now have an idea what Azeroth is going to look like in the next few years. In the most recent post-BlizzCon interview, they gave us like actual evidence on how this will happen, and they essentially just told us, don't expect the Cataclysm revamp, it won't be happening. And honestly, I mean, that makes sense. It is sort of an impossible task at this point with the current level of details, with how many zones exist, and it doesn't really make all that much sense. I mean, with Cataclysm it made sense because we went to these zones, like all these zones were rebuilt, but we got all these new quest lines and everything was happening in these zones. But if they wanted to update everything, like, these zones would need to be relevant. I mean, they're not just going to do like a 40 zone revamp just so that we can, you know, level through those zones, and you could even level in like 15 different ways, so they wouldn't even be leveling. I mean, it is way too much work for nothing to actually happen, so obviously it has to be relevant to the storyline that is going to happen within the next 3 expansions. To boil it down completely, this is exactly what they told us. Remember how they revamped Darkshore, like they specifically mentioned Darkshore? We are going to get revamped zones in that manner. So Darkshore was relevant in BFA, essentially it was updated to be relevant to the current storyline. You can also expect things to happen similar to the updates Undercity got. So as you may remember, Undercity used to look really bad, then just this upper part of the city was actually updated, but most of Tirisfal actually still looks the same. I mean, it's not like they updated every single piece of grass and every tree. Some parts of the zone are still stuck in time, but some were updated, so we could be getting things like that as well. Essentially, the updates will be local, they will be relevant to the current storylines that will be happening within the next 3 expansions, and seeing that we already have an outline for the next 3 expansions, we can kinda guess with pretty decent precision what zones will be getting updated. Best news so far is that we know Silvermoon will 100% be getting updated to the current standard. I know, not a huge shocker. I mean, we know WoW Midnight is going to be based in Quel'Thalas, so obviously that makes sense, but this is something that I've been talking for so long. I made so many videos because Silvermoon has been one of the worst offenders when it comes to being stuck in time. So let us actually look at what areas will get updated, and let's kinda list them down based on what will almost certainly get updated to some that might potentially, but we can't really say so. So let's look at the zones. So first of all, expect pretty big changes to the northern eastern kingdoms, like that upper part of Eastern Kingdoms. I mean, this is so obvious with, wow, Midnight, the Quel'Thalas updates, but it's not just Quel'Thalas. In terms of Quel'Thalas, expect Silvermoon to be updated, expect that Scout to be removed, the city to be fixed, and the surrounding areas should get fixed as well. And also, that little bit of Quel'Thalas that is sort of close to the plaguelands should actually become a fully fledged part of Quel'Thalas. And together with Quel'Thalas, we might actually be getting some forest trolls, Amani updates, which could potentially also signal an allied race. Together with this will almost certainly draw us into an updated Gilneas. They have been hinting at this for years with Gen, with Kalia, so something should definitely be happening on that front as well. Furthermore, we should 100% expect changes to Stromgarde. As I said in multiple videos, Stromgarde is essentially a fully functioning city of the Alliance. It is only currently stuck in time in BFA, so it actually works. And also, we got those Rati humans in the new zone. We got Anduin actually connecting with them. They also confirmed this in an interview, so we could get a storyline with that, of them coming back home, so that could lead us into a new Alliance city, which could be Stromgarde. Together with these, seeing that we have removed the Scarlet Crusade, we have also removed the Scourge at the end of Shadowlands, we should expect big changes to Tirisful Glades, as well as big changes to pretty much all the undead areas. However, we should finally, after all this time, expect big changes to the Plaguelands, which is something that all of you guys know. We've been fixing this zone pretty much since Pratt. So finally, after all this time, we should have finally fixed it, and we could be expecting Plaguelands to actually look like Lordaeron and to no longer be Plaguelands. Now, other than this, what I'm also definitely expecting, we should be seeing some pretty big changes to that entire southern part of Kalimdor. You know, Tanaris, where the sword is, and Silitus, and most importantly, we got all these Titan facilities around this area. The sword may be getting removed, you know, the Titans are definitely going to come back, so the Titan facilities may be relevant. So we could be expecting this entire Titan part, southern part of Kalimdor to get updated to the current standards as well. While of course we're talking about the Titans, we know that the new continent in the last expansion, the last Titan, will be Northerend, so you can definitely expect a huge revamp to Northerend. Now, they specifically said we'll be going to Ulduar, but, you know, they might update some zones, but honestly, seeing that the entire expansion is going to be based in Northerend, honestly, I'm expecting a pretty big change to the entire area, so we might be reconnecting with those Nerubians that could be relevant to these guys that are currently going to happen within the War Within. We could be seeing what happened to the Vrykul, and honestly, we could definitely be in for a huge, like a complete revamp of the entire continent of Northerend. Other than this, I mean, it is pretty obvious that the entire storyline of this expansion is going to be about Thrall and Anduin. They're obviously pointing out in the interview as well as the cinematics that they have been kind of out of the game for a while. They haven't been leading the factions, so it is very likely Anduin could be returning to be king, Thrall could be returning to be a lot more important within the Horde, which could prompt us into an Orgrimmar and Stormwind update. Honestly, I mean, these are two major cities that really look so stuck in time. I mean, it kind of looks ridiculous when you compare it to Suramar or pretty much anything new they had recently done, so we could actually be expecting changes to Stormwind and Orgrimmar in the very near future. Other than this, of course, we got all this new Earthen lore, we got all this new Dwarf lore, so that could naturally prompt us to get an updated Ironforge and Gnomeregan. Now, in regards to Ironforge, like, we have actually been getting updates. Some siege engines were updated, the Ironforge gods were actually updated, but when it comes to Gnomeregan, like, we need to get this place updated. It has been stuck in time for the past 15 years. Seeing that the Void Invasion will be happening in Quel'Thalas in the Eastern Kingdoms, maybe a part of the Void Invasion also happens in Gnomeregan, which could kind of be the storyline we would need for the gnomes to finally, after all this time, actually get their home back. Other than this, depending on where the content leads us, we could be getting a few more isolated zones updated to the current standards as well. I mean, we got 3 new expansions, so it is so hard to speculate what could happen in the next like 6-7 years potentially, but we should be going to some new zones. I mean, keep in mind, we already kind of know where the setting will be. Most of these 3 expansions will be on the old world, so we will be going to the places that already exist most likely we won't get a lot of new zones, so something could definitely prompt them to also update these old isolated parts of Azeroth as well. Additionally, they also update things in every single patch, so some of these patches could be perfect opportunities to get some more parts of the world revamp, and over time, eventually, Azeroth should get a huge revamp. It just won't happen overnight, it will probably happen over the next like 5 or 6 years. Thank you for watching, check out the latest cinematic, my analysis on it and what you probably missed, and also check out my video on ancient Greeks in Spain. I actually recorded this on an archaeological site, which took so much time to make by also clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.